was weird. Zoom has a new thing. Lady was talking to me. She said recording in progress.
Yes, you
Welcome
haven't heard
back.
that?
No, I have.
Oh,
That's what I'm
I
saying.
hate
Last
it.
one I just did, it was the first one I done in person since the pandemic started, and so it was amazing. So y'all, if you were listening to this right now, you just heard the last episode of me and Norm last week of the No Tact Talk podcast. So welcome. Cue the applause here. Right.
Woo!
I have an amazing guest today. Before we get to her, y'all, we're on the way to season 2. Okay. The entire June, as you may notice, it wasn't. I remember it had 1 or 2 episodes in June, and it's because of scheduling. And I was like 4 or 5 people had to reschedule like to the next month for June, and I was like, that's weird. I don't know if this guy saying I need a break or whatever else, but when I first started, this a year and a half ish ago. Um, Obviously every podcast wants to go to 100 episodes. I think we're like 64, 65 or something now, but we're taking a break from my birthday in the month of
Mm.
August. So y'all are getting these all in July, and we're taking a break. And so, and what when podcast takes breaks, coming back revamping, we're coming back to give you more heat, more power, all the good type of stuff. But the last 4, I mean, could all be finales. And this is one included. These could all be like the finale episode. And yeah, I'm super excited. The merch, as you see, if you watch it on YouTube, got the shirts on, right? The book bags and everything. So definitely go shout out to merch. I'm gonna do this early now, and I have to make a little plug for it later. Definitely go check out the website. And from the first episode to now, the progress, I guess the streams, plays, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's almost tripled from it's doubled over every couple of months. I always let y'all know on Instagram, like we get 1,000, 2,000, whatever, right? So thank you for the support. Thank you for the rates and all the other good stuff that you do to support any type of podcast. But today, with all that being said, we have a very what was it? What's the word? Transformative, right? Masterful woman on the podcast today.
Whoa.
We, we always say here on the podcast, we always say if you don't have a bio, you're doing something wrong. So she has an amazing bio. Okay, I'm gonna read a little bit of it. So Aarionna, right? Make sure I'm saying the name right.
Yeah,
Aarionna is the
that's right.
owner
Yeah.
and founder of Freedom Riders. Riders. Ain't no R at the end. It's
There you
Riders.
go. You did it
Okay.
right.
She is a wife, mother of 4 children, ordained minister, and a motivational speaker and coach specializing in personal and business development. And she's going to tell us a lot of her story today, kind of how she came to be in her space. I recently met her through Vic, the guy from Purpose Addicts. Shout out to Coach Vic. I mean, the guy's been putting people together, and we talked about that thing on the last one that I was on, the Clubhouse, and just doing the podcast and just networking. But I
Hmm.
feel like it's not like nobody's leeching; everybody's kind of bringing something to the table. And I have the privilege of being part of something called the Shift, okay, where power and purpose collide. And this is it's her one of her babies on Clubhouse. She's very has a pretty good following on Clubhouse, to where we talk about purpose every Tuesday. So check that out as well. 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So we'll put that in the bio for the podcast as well. But we talk about purpose, and everybody, if you go check out all the people that's on there, but she is our fearless leader, and we all just have something to say about that. And every time I've heard her talk or seen stuff that she's posted or using herself as an example or stuff on TikTok or whatever else, it's been very consistent. A lot of times you see people that say, "Hey, I'm a motivational speaker," or "I do this, I do that," and they're not really consistent. Their message kind of changes, and you could just tell
Hmm.
authenticity, right? So with all that being said, let's bring the applause again. Welcome. All right, how's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. I'm so excited to be on your platform. Like,
Yes,
I'm so honored to be asked to be on these platforms. I'm like flipping, like, if
yes.
I could flip, you know.
They say that the first 15 years you can like start to do a backflip, but after that, if you can't do it, it takes
Yeah.
a long time. For one, because of
Oh,
fear,
I
and two,
never
because
got
of
the
your
first
body.
15, so like that's gonna be the first problem.
Yeah, like
But
a lot of fear
inside,
involved.
I'm flipping. I'm excited. So yeah.
That's good. So I want to let the people know about you a little bit, kind of how you got into this space, how you kind of made your stamp and your mark. So like what kind of brought the Freedom Riders on, and like you're pretty much your brand for
Yeah.
what you do now.
So Freedom Riders, it really stems from um a low point in my life where I
Mm.
battled depression for like 5 years
Yep.
and suicidal thoughts, um, and attempts. I mean, you know,
Mm.
but it really stemmed from there. I went through a horrible first divorce that
Yeah.
was like super hard, and I had already had my first, daughter, and when I was going through my divorce,
Mm.
I was pregnant with my son. So it was like emotions on top of emotions, and that spiraled me into depression.
Yeah.
And that was like the start of it, the start of being in that depressed mode. And it just got worse and worse as the years went on.
Yeah.
Um, and then I got remarried to my phenomenal husband. He's my best friend, but we had like a rocky start, and so much happened. So it was like, one toxic situation into like another, in the sense of, so many people attacked us. It was so much
Yeah.
with the story. I don't know. Some people feel like the first 5 years is easy, but some first 5 years is hard. We're going on year six, and I could say we
Yeah.
kind of getting a breather now. So
That's good.
so I don't know. I'm gonna come out and tell y'all what it is.
Yeah.
But going through that depression, it was extremely hard. It was very lonely, which is interesting because I have like the greatest support system as far as family and stuff, like
Hmm.
so good, but nobody understood, right? Nobody really got what I was going through, and how people don't talk about how mentally tormenting
Hmm.
depression is. It's really a mindset. Like, it feels like you're imprisoned by
Yeah.
like thoughts and all this other stuff. And so, um, really, I for a long time, like I told you, I was a minister, and I tell people this all the time because I think it's important on the church front to understand how people, can be ministers or whatever and be plagued with depression. I went to church every day. I didn't miss a Sunday,
Yeah.
because it was more like my lifeline, right? Like, I knew if I disconnected from this, like, that was gonna be it. But everybody gave me the great saying of, you just gotta pray through it. You just gotta pray through it. 5 years of like praying through it, and nothing
Right.
happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing shifted for me. And I got to the last attempt that I ever had or whatever, and I was like in my apartment, um, um, on my knees, knife on one side. I was addicted to sleeping pills.
Yeah.
I was, drinking, to just anything you could use when you're feeling depression or you're having like mental warfare, is what I
To
like to.
numb the pain. Yeah.
Yeah, anything to numb it, or just to silence it for like a second. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I prayed, and I was like, you know what, like, I can't do this. And thank God I'm here today. And I heard this one saying that, every time you hear my story, you're gonna hear me say it. If you're still here, you still have purpose.
Mm.
And it was an answer for me, because I was searching for, why am I here? Like, to suffer, you know, to
Yeah.
to have hard days, to cry myself to sleep every night, and then on nights I can't go to sleep, I'm taking popping pills. Like,
Yeah.
I felt valueless. I felt like nothing. And so when I heard God say that, if you're still here, you still have purpose, it
Mm.
changed my whole perspective on what it means to have purpose. Changed my whole perspective on what it means to be valuable. Like, every time we I think we take it for granted, but every time you wake up and you're able to breathe in and out, like, that's purpose. And my favorite saying is, you don't find purpose. That's what I thought. You tap into
Mm.
purpose. When I was finding purpose, it made me miserable. When I realized that purpose was inside, and I had to tap into it, I had to like activate it. It changed the game for me.
Break that down for me, because people are looking for that calling, purpose, whatever you want to call it. And so what do you mean by tapping into it?
So what I came to realize was, as I was going through my depression, God was so funny. He would put people in my life that I had to operate out of purpose
Mm-hmm.
to help them. I didn't know at the time, right? Because I'm searching for it. I'm searching for it. I'm searching for it. And what we don't realize is, when I say tap into it,
Yeah.
you just have to realize where your strengths are, where your strong points are. So, like for me, when I was going through my divorce, and when I was struggling, in my marriage, even now, I would want to give up. And then, like, it would be like random women on Facebook would inbox me about their marriage and they need help. And I would be like, what?
Mm.
But I could never not speak life into them. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so I would do it. And I remember praying and asking God, like, especially my first, my when I got divorced, I was like, I don't understand. I feel like I did everything right. And he was like, it's not about you. Like, I need you to go through it for somebody else.
Don't that
So when
suck?
huh?
Doesn't that suck?
Oh, it sucked. It sucked bad. Oh
Like,
my
let's just
God,
stop
it
right
sucked
there.
so
Like,
bad. You're the first person who actually said, like, what?
yo,
It sucked so bad.
oh
It
man,
was like, it's
I got a
Jay,
word.
it
I
sucked.
got a word to tell this lady. And again, I'm a guy, obviously, but she had breast cancer and she was going through a
Yeah.
lot of stuff. And I was put in a position to talk to her about it. And I don't want to be insensitive, but I'm like, hey, do you know? And obviously, I'm fast forwarding a lot of stuff. I'm like, hey, do you know that what you've gone through and and she survived. So it was, she made through, worked through it. It's for
Good.
somebody else. And I said, I know we want to talk about us and our trauma and our issues, but do you know that now you can be a light for somebody else? And she didn't want to hear it at
Hmm.
the time, which is
Hmm.
cool. But
Yeah.
and sometimes like I feel like people know when they need to say something to somebody. Again, they're just trying to be politically correct. Don't want to hurt her feelings, this, that, and the third. But we hear all these cliches like all the time. I call them cookie cutter responses,
Right.
or like
Absolutely.
the fortune cookie answers, or right,
Yep.
all these little great things, the mantras, right? And
Yeah.
they're true,
Yeah. Yeah.
but again, we leave church, right? And we feel all good,
Yeah.
but usually most people don't give you enough application.
Right.
It's very rare to
Right.
give you, like uh I like seeing the priest, okay, here's the 7 steps to, again, or say finding purpose or whatever else, because now we can write stuff down and use it and whatever, but not
I know
just
what
that
to
feel
do.
good. Yeah, so
That-
it's a lot, but
But
I
and
think
that's what Freedom Riders is. If you ask me, like, what makes it different, like, I, I, I did Vic's podcast, and I realized I'm a motivational coach. Okay,
yeah,
that's just what it's gonna be.
right.
But if you ask what's different, is that for me, what you just said was the hardest thing.
Mm.
Nobody could give me steps. Everybody just told me, like, oh, pray about it. You can get out of it.
Because
But
they don't know
how
what
do
to
I
do
get
themselves.
right?
And when they
But
say
how
they're there
I
for you, they're
needed a
not really
step.
there for you for real. They just trying to give you that good feel. You're not in the trenches with me for real.
I needed a manual. I need a manual on how to get out of mental warfare and depression. Do you got a manual? Like, what's the steps? That's how Freedom Riders came about. But
Yeah.
it was the hardest thing when God told me, like, I need you to go through it for somebody else. I was like, oh, this is dumb. Like, I didn't do
Yes.
anything.
I've been so good. Oh my God.
Like, what? And but that's what I mean by tap into purpose, is
Yeah.
that usually when you're going through, you're already operating in purpose. Whether you want to do it on purpose is the question, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we got to stop prettying up purpose. It's
Yeah.
not pretty. Jesus's walk was not. Come on, the ending was like,
No, this is the kicker. I tell people, I said, well, he 33, right? Pretty sure. I said he grew up knowing he was gonna die at 33. And that's what when I talk to people about, like, a sense of urgency. Imagine knowing what day you're gonna die. You wouldn't be on social media. You
nope,
wouldn't do none of this stuff,
nope,
bro.
nope,
He had
nope.
such a sense of urgency, like about everything, and just understanding where he needed to be, and
Yep.
he's so laser focused. Anyway, go ahead.
So, well, that's the when I heard that, right, I
Yeah,
immediately thought about Job, and
of
I
course.
immediately thought about Jesus. And what people don't talk about purpose is it's well, they do now, but I don't think they hone it in enough. Is purpose is not about you.
No.
It's not about you. Now, the Bible says all these things will be added, like once you do what I told you to do first, yeah, you'll get all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But when we focus on the stuff, that's when we start looking outside of ourselves for purpose. But purpose not about you. So it was the hardest thing to hear, but I had those stories to go back to, like, all right, well, if that's the case, I just got to go through it. Here's the great thing though. You said he knew when he was going to die. I knew I was going to survive.
Yeah.
That was the dope
Yeah.
thing was, all right, well, if you're telling me I have to do this, that means I'm going to survive. So
Mm.
then, that at that point you got to ask yourself, how bad do you really want to survive?
And it's kind of like seeing the end before why you're in it, where you get started. And it's like, well, this the end is so far away, Jay. I know it is. You know, a lot of times, I think something you said earlier, I ain't want to forget. We can't really speak on things obviously we haven't gone through, but a lot of
Hmm.
times the biggest breakthrough for the speaker is because they're going through it, and so they're helping everybody else, but it's something they're currently going through.
Yeah.
Mike
Yeah.
Ty, he talks about that a lot. About He was like, yeah, when I'm sitting here talking about pornography and infidelity and all those type of crazy, he said, because I've been there. And that's the kicker too. I think that's kind of like the over the hill moment is using what you think is wrong with you
Yeah.
for the process to help other people. But why
Yeah.
would I put myself on Front Street, Jay? Because that's what God wants to use. He uses the ugly, messy parts. Everybody can look good on social media, take the picture, do a little dance, whatever, right? But who out here really talking about the stuff that they struggle with? Because
Right.
that's what people are. They're seeing the perfectness, trying to hide their own shame, hide their own
Right.
anxiety and
Right.
depression. That's why people are on social media. They're trying to
Yeah.
escape,
Yeah.
from their stuff. But if you're talking
Exactly.
about
From the
this stuff,
truth.
now you're forcing them to take it in. And you wonder why, again, like you saying, getting these messages and stuff like, I'm just trying to make it one day at a time, much less help
Yeah.
y'all out. Like I just got done
Exactly.
arguing. Like,
Exactly.
like,
I
bro.
would be like that. I would be like, I'm crying. Like I would be in tears right now, like an
Yeah.
argument or something, like crying and get a message. And I would be like, really? Right now? Like that's what I would be like, right now,
Yeah.
come on, like can I get a breather? But it wasn't a moment for that. And I like to say like show me your scars.
Mm,
Like anybody, if you sit wherever you're at right now, you're going through, you're not going to listen to nobody who's not going to, on some level, make you feel like they identify, right?
yeah. Yeah.
When I think about Jesus Christ, it's funny. I preached this message a while ago. Everybody swears it's like the best message, but it's been my mantra for like myself too.
Yeah.
When Jesus died on the cross, he came back. He had the scars in his hands.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have to ask yourself why. Like, why did he have the holes? He was Jesus Christ. Like, he didn't
Yeah.
need the holes, but he had them to show them, and they believed. Because the truth of the matter is, some people would come into my motivation room, and they with it. They don't have to hear my story. But then some people want to hear the
Mm-hmm.
story to become believers. And if that means you gotta, rise up with scars, so be it.
Yeah.
So, and people got to stop wearing their mistakes and their failures as shame. Jesus came out with holes in his hands and was proud about it, because what it
Mm,
really says is I'm a survivor. What it really says is that the devil didn't take me out. What it really says is what y'all tried to do didn't kill me. So we got to stop being ashamed of our badges, of our scars. Like,
mm-hmm.
why else? If I'm going to go through all that, give me a badge of honor.
You
Like,
feel
if
me?
I'm,
I
if,
earned
if, if
this.
I, like give me my badge. Like I got the depression bag hands down. Mental warfare, give
Yeah.
me my badges. And I'm gonna tell everybody, because I need everybody who thought they were gonna take me out, or who thought they left me high and dry. And I need the enemy to understand you can't kill what God created.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take me out. So people gotta stop being so ashamed of your badges of honor. Oh my gosh, that just blows my mind.
So
That blows my mind.
at what point did you get over the hump? Or, I know because because I've dealt with it as well, and for ADHD, right? My wife was talking about it last night. And so my whole life, and I just recently, maybe 2 years ago ish,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
started going to therapy, working on myself, because I was in like a really high tempo army unit, and now I'm a recruiter, so it's still high tempo, but I'm able to come home and like
Different.
chill, right?
Yeah.
And so started going to the chiropractor, looking my body right, start going straight, do all this stuff because my body was like broken down from just so much
Mm.
stuff. And so then I was good on that, and then I'm like, okay, well, I'm still like I'm the type of person that would dream full movies every night, like beginning, middle, and end. Like it
Mm.
makes sense. So you might
Mm-hmm.
be in it, this TV might be in it, the light, whatever, but it's just something random. My dog will be doing something crazy every time, right? But I would wake up tired. Like my body
Mm.
would be good, but I would wake up mentally drained, like in the
Mm.
morning. And because I'm
Yeah.
always so like I started this podcast so I could, get it a lot of the my stuff out, so it became
Yeah.
a version of therapy. Then I started going to therapy,
Yeah.
and that helped a lot of too. But I mean, what we're talking about, she's like, I didn't know that you were feeling depressed. I said, I didn't know either.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't know I was going
Yep.
through it either. And
Yep.
so through recognizing it, for me, that's my answer is I had to recognize it for one, go through it, have the people in my corner to call me, and I would hold them accountable. Hey, bro, I need you to call me. It was
Yeah.
weird. It was weird for guys to do that, but I would hold them accountable. Hey, I need you to call me like 2 or 3 times a week,
Yeah.
randomly, just to let me know something.
Yeah.
Because I'm saying I'm good now, and I'm saying it now, but like on Wednesday, I'm not gonna be thinking all positive. I'm gonna be in my stuff,
Yeah.
right? So that's
Yeah.
like the kind of stuff that I did. But what kind of helps you through or get through yours?
Um, you know, uh, when you realize that you have value, it kind of changes the game on what you allow to get you down.
Yeah.
And I think for me, because my struggle was feeling invaluable, I felt like, I was kind of tossed to the side. I felt like, I wasn't worth it. When I got that confirmation of that moment of, if you're still here, you still have purpose. Now every day after that wasn't like the best day.
What was
Every
the
day after that,
confirmation though? Because
yeah,
people are looking for this aha moment, like God coming
yeah,
out the sky, touching you. You're okay, Jay. Like
yeah.
what did it look like?
It really it's you gotta I think one thing is you gotta be able to like be in tune and listen, because like for me that was
Yeah.
the thing I needed to hear, right?
Okay.
And so that was the thing that triggered me to always keep pushing even when it like got hard. And because the I'm not saying the bad days don't go away, what I'm saying is they lessen.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't have nearly as many bad days as I did. And truthfully, when we talk about needing a plan and a strategy, I was glad that you said that, because
Yeah.
I literally had to start, like, the other thing that God really told me was, faith without works is dead. And you're trying to overbalance the scale with so much faith, and this is what people do. They try to put so much faith on it and no work.
No
And then
application. Yes. Yes.
you look at God, like he's the wrong one. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
for me, I can just speak for me. He said you're trying to overbalance it, and
Mm.
it's not this, and it's also not this. It's this.
Yeah.
So every single day, I had to just make a different decision. Whether
Yeah.
I was changing my conversation, changing my friends, changing like physically, crying in the bed to crying on the couch, changing everything about me. It maybe one day was little, maybe another day was
Mm-hmm.
big, but I just had to continue to put one foot in front of the other. I think people really discount that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, knowing that today you may be okay, but Wednesday, you might not be, and putting something in place
Mm.
for that is so important. Like, it's so, until you get strong enough to say, oh, I got a hold on this, it's so wise to be
Yeah.
like, all right, listen, I know myself, I know I'm trying, but I'm gonna need some help. And until you get there, and eventually you get there. You know what I'm saying? It's a
Yeah.
journey. It's not a destination, it's a journey.
What
It's
do you
such a
say to
journey.
somebody who was like, "Well, I don't want to bother people. I don't want to be that person," or you know what I'm saying? Because people make excuses. They're in the midst of the depression or the issue, whatever
Yeah.
you're gonna call it, right?
Yeah.
But they just like, I just want to be a burden. This is my things to go through, and
Yeah.
well, I think too, not to be in what's it insensitive, but it's like people like trauma. People like stuff going wrong. People like being able to go on Facebook and like, oh, it's another day.
Mhm.
Or we all know that person in the family that's like, yeah, it's always something, whatever. You just, but they like living in that.
Yeah.
And so you've
Yeah.
given them every motivational thing, every scripture that you can, but they say
Everything.
like,
Mhm.
I get what you're saying, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so it's two sides.
Okay.
So the side of the person who is in it and says they don't want to burden somebody, that's you're battling an insecurity. You're
Okay.
battling, it's so deep, because you're really saying you don't feel like you're worth anybody's time. You don't feel like
Right.
anybody really cares. You're masking it with saying I don't want to be a burden, but the truth of the matter is you don't feel like anybody cares. And to that I say, you got to know that at the end of the day, whether you got to find, your person, your space, your therapist, your
Yeah.
coach, there's somebody out there that you have to be able to release it. Because if not, it'll kill you. It will literally take you out. And I would tell
Yeah.
anybody, I didn't go to therapy, but it was hard as heck.
Yeah.
It was hard. So I don't recommend doing it by yourself, because it takes a level of strength. Like, if you're not going to be tapped into fully God, and I say that with all confidence in him, it's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard. And so if you find yourself saying that, first understand that you're speaking out of an insecurity, that you don't feel worthy enough
Mm.
for people to help you. You
Yeah.
don't feel like that. And find the spaces, because I had the greatest support system. Like, my family's amazing and stuff like that, but they didn't get it. They didn't
Yeah.
they didn't understand it. And so find your space, whether it be a tribe of people, like a group, or get a therapist or a coach. Find somebody you connect with
Mm.
that can help you, because the alternative is, I'm telling you, that stuff will drown you out and it'll kill you. You
Yeah.
can't be on an island by yourself. Like, that just doesn't work. But then to the other side, to the people that are like giving, you know, and no, and they don't want to
Mm-hmm.
receive. I can tell you this: I had to go back to, you know, some past friendships, and I had to apologize for being the toxic person because I
Ooh.
did have people trying, you know, at one point in time, but I realized I was toxic,
Yeah.
you know, like what do you do when, yeah, I was going through depression, right? Hands down, but
Mm-hmm.
I was being a toxic friend too. You know, it's not right that I would purposely or allow myself to be around knowing I was being toxic, knowing I was infecting their environment, knowing that I was bringing them down.
That's
Right.
good.
It was such a moment to where I felt like they, you know, they let me down, they left me, but at the same time, when I look at it, I kind of understand because
Mm-hmm.
it was heavy. And I say this, if you're dealing with somebody who's depressed, you got to be able to carry the weight. If you're not equipped, get them to somebody who is equipped because there are people who can handle that level of, you know, of weight.
Have a
But
threshold for it. Yeah.
yeah, I have a threshold for it. You know, we're all grace for certain things, but
Mm-hmm.
I apologize for being a toxic friend. And so to that person that's like trying and trying and trying, here's what I know out of being a depression survivor: if they don't want to hear it, they're not gonna hear it.
Hmm.
If they're not ready to deal with the truth, because best believe I had some self work to do. If they're not
Mm-hmm.
ready, they're not gonna hear it, no matter what you say.
So does that mean you give up?
It doesn't mean that you give up, but I will say this: that I have to understand both sides. If those friends at the time felt like what I was going through was so infectious to who they were
Mm-hmm.
that it would pull them down, I understand saving yourself. Like I do.
Okay.
Um, but I would say pointing them in the direction, or I don't think you give up, but I can understand is what I can say. I can understand if it's too much for you. Because at what point in time do you say, okay, this is taking me out?
Mm-hmm.
You know, at what point in time do you have to tap out for yourself? So I just feel like I understand both sides now. Like I get it.
Okay. So so what steps do you take to make sure you don't go back to those bad days?
Oof,
So I
love the
made
question.
it. I made it. I'm good. Now I'm like, because it sneaks up on you.
Mhm,
I know from
mhm.
personal experience, like you be happy one day, all of a sudden, like, why is it raining every day? Good, like it
Right.
sucks, right? So, what do you
Yep.
do to keep yourself like energized, happy, and focused? Obviously, I can say, at least I can say that you motivate other people. I think
Yeah.
it blesses you to. I mean, y'all be up early, man. I be trying. If you ask me to come
Like
on,
where Jay at? Jay
no,
ain't been.
I ain't. No, I see out the
What?
notification every morning. No, I do way too much in the day. Y'all be getting
Not
up
doing it.
mad
Not
early.
doing this with y'all.
I got you on
No.
Tuesday though.
On Tuesday, you
In
be
the
listen. You're there. I do plan on adding some evening rooms. That's funny. I do be like, Jay don't never be up in a row. Oh, and I
nah,
said to myself, I said, he probably like, nope, yeah, not 6:15. No, not doing that.
y'all can have all that. No,
I love this question because a lot of people say, I can't wait to get to where you're at, right? And
yeah,
I'm like,
you don't know. No, no.
look, where am I at? But here's the thing. I shifted my environment. I shifted my conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We are all seeds, and whatever seed you decide to water in your mind is gonna grow. Period.
Okay.
So for me, every like even before I do the clubhouse at 6:15, I'm actually up 30 minutes before to listen to
Wow.
my own things.
You drinking coffee? Like,
No, no coffee. I don't do
see?
coffee until after after the clubhouse. I don't even have my first cup of coffee till after the clubhouse.
Mm,
But I do that because when you're asking me what do, I get up
yeah.
30 minutes for me and I listen to like a preaching message, or I put on my favorite is like YouTube compilations of just motivational speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And I look for, see, here's the strategic part. You got me giving away my secrets, but I'm good with that. I want everybody to get this because I want people to experience freedom.
Yeah.
If I wake up in the morning and I'm feeling stressed, I look for a motivational thing that's gonna motivate me out my stress. If I
Mm-hmm.
wake up and I feel upset or I feel like giving up, I'm putting on something that's gonna speak to you got to keep pushing. See,
Mm-hmm.
people are not strategic. This is where I get with like affirmations. I remember my sister asked me, she was like, well, what do you do? Like, I mean, and then what are affirmations? Like, I mean, I get it. They're like, oh, okay, you
Yeah.
say. She's like, but I don't get the whole thing. And I said, well, here's the problem. Affirmations just on their own are just feel good.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're strategic, when you use it as like weaponry, like I'm feeling valueless, I'm going to get affirmations that speak to my value. I feel
Facts.
like quitting, I'm going to get affirmations that talk to about keep going,
Mm-hmm.
keep pushing. I said, if you don't get strategic, then yeah, you're right. It's just like a cute little cliche that everybody's saying, and it's not really doing anything. But when you get strategic, so what do? I do that.
Yeah.
If I'm battling something, I'm calling up my top five. Like, this is what I got going on. Let's talk about it. Like, I need you to pour into me. I'm gonna pour into you because I believe in
Yeah.
give, give, don't take. It's not give and take. It's give, give. I got that from somebody in my family who was very wise. We had us all stumped when he said it. He was like, relationships are give, give. We were like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, give and take. And he was like, no. Anytime
No,
I'm
no.
taking, it's a problem.
It's a competition. I
It's
feel like
right. It's
it's
a
give.
problem.
Right.
So I was like, so literally have set up my what do they call it, you know, you go into battle and you got like your front line. I've set my front line in such a way that if I'm going through, I have different areas I know I can pull on to help
Mm-hmm.
me. So what you find is your bad days don't last as long. You know, I might have a bad day a week, not but I'm not having a week worth of bad days, you know,
Yeah.
because it really is. Think about yourself as a seed. How are you watering? What type of environment are you rooted in? Are you getting too much sunlight? Are you sitting in the darkness? Is it killing you? Like, that's how you got to think about it.
Yeah.
When you think about it in that way, you're like, all
Mm.
right, what am I feeding myself today?
Yeah.
Right?
So what does the work life balance look like? Right.
Non-existent. Um, I don't. Why you ask me this question? I'm not the one for this question because
I need to
I
hear it.
don't know. Can I be honest?
Yeah.
I don't know because we go through seasons in life.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest thing about Jesus, why they loved him so much, he talks in parables. He gives you something that you can like really look at and be like, oh, let me apply it.
Yeah.
So let's look at the seasons. You got summer, you got fall, you got winter. Um, the balance, I don't know. But prepping for the season you're in, I understand. So if I'm in grind season,
Okay.
I need to prep for grind season. That means I need to have a conversation with my family that, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably not going to be as available, but I'm in grind mode. So mommy's going to be working a lot. I got to tell my husband, like, I just literally had a conversation with my husband, like, so my speaking engagements are picking up.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about when I'm being asked to fly? Like, is there a certain amount of engagements you don't want me to take? It's
Mm-hmm.
about prepping for the seasons of life. I don't know if I agree anymore with work life balance, but I do believe in prepping for the season you're in.
I just had a similar conversation. Um, I said I don't think it's bad to say. Whatever, she's cool. No, so like I'm going to El Paso soon. I'm in the military. Terrible place, I think. People be like,
Mm,
it's fine, but whatever. I got to move again, every 3 years. And
mm,
I asked my wife because she's finna graduate pretty soon from PT school. I'm just asking. I really don't think I'm gonna get in trouble for this. Oh well, we good now. So
you in it now. You in
yeah,
it.
right. I said, well, what if I'm just thinking. This is not a plan, right? I'm just thinking like, what if I just got out of the army after El Paso? So what? 41 months. I got
Hmm.
out. You be good because I've been helping support her do her thing. So now the roles will kind of be reversed. I ain't got no pride in it. She can
Hmm.
make $1 million a day. We winning, right?
Listen,
You
wins,
know.
okay?
So so she was like, she started asking relevant questions. Well,
Hmm.
what about this? We were planning to have children soon. What about boom, 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 boom? Right, life stuff.
Yeah.
And that kind of bothered me. Not
Mm.
because it wasn't true or relevant, because for me, and I had to realize how I needed to be loved, which is why a whole other conversation as far as communicating with your partner.
Yeah,
But the first thing I wanted to hear was, I
I
don't
got you.
know. You're right. I don't know, but we're gonna make it work. I got you. I'm gonna be there for you.
Ugh. You know what? That's what I expected too, and I didn't get
Okay.
it. I
Right.
didn't get it, and I was frustrated with them myself. I was like, wait, what? Like if it was you, I'd be like, all right, let's go, let's
That's what
ride
I'm
it.
saying.
I did the same. I kid you not, is the same reaction I got in mine, and he was like, well, so I mean, you plan on being gone, missing things, and da da da. And
Right.
in the moment, all you want to hear is, I got you. So I got us. Let me tell you what happens.
Okay.
That's that insecure part of us that feels like we need validation to make the decision. You
Yeah.
really were asking, like we're really asking for you to give us approval to make this decision. Like that's what I'm kind of really asking for. Like
Yeah.
I'm walking off my job in the first week of August, and so I told him, and he goes into like a a thing or whatever. But I realized I'm looking for you to give me a yes. And do I? We're married,
Yeah.
but do I really need you to give me the yes, or do we need to have a conversation about it?
We would like
Right?
a yes,
You would
but
like
it's
a
not
yes,
always the case. Yeah.
but it's not always the case. And so I experienced the same thing. I was looking for like, yeah, I got you, because that would be my mindset. Like, well, yeah,
Mhm.
let's go, we'll figure it out. But we got to be careful of expecting people to react how we want them to and react how we would react. We're not the same. We're two different people, right?
Mhm.
So what I had to do was listen from who he is. You got to listen from who she is.
Yeah.
If they're the type of person that, I'm not killing your dreams, I'm not telling you not to do it, but I'm just thinking out of where
Yeah.
I'm
That's
at,
exactly what you were saying.
right? Like I'm just
You
thinking
can
where I'm
still
at.
be yourself, but it's certain stuff that I need off rip, and I communicated that, and that's why love languages are so popular
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you know if I'm doing all the things that I like to be done, let's just say back rubs, making chocolate chip cookies, and whatever.
all of it.
But if I'm doing that to her because I like it, that's wrong. I got to
Hmm.
think about what she wants.
Yeah, yeah.
She knows what I like, but I think that's what people do a lot. They well, I like this, I like that, so why wouldn't they like that?
They feed out of their love language.
Yeah, and but you
Yeah,
gotta feel, and that's why it's still one of the most popular books ever because people you gotta break it down. And I think that kind of goes past relationships is understanding like people. We talked about the team last week. We talked
exactly.
about stuff in business. It's just about how do people want to be seen in these businesses? How do people want to be seen in these friendships and this
Right,
podcast? Right? Like what is I'm getting these vibes off of Jace. Let me adjust, or and vice
right,
versa.
right,
And
right.
so just the ability to pivot, I think, is so
Yeah,
important.
I think it's interesting. What I had to do in that moment was understand that I got to validate myself first.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta validate yourself first. And I get it, like, partners, teams, they're all really good. But if you don't validate you first, that will hit harder than I think it's meant to hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what you learn is you have a lot more compassion as you get older. As you start to dive into
Yeah.
learning about yourself or going to therapy or doing self work, you have a lot more compassion because you understand, like, I don't always respond the right way. I don't
Mm-hmm.
always give, what is looking to have gave. You get what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so you realize, like, all right, you have compassion for that, but understanding that it's like what I said in Clubhouse earlier this week. I posted a post of like, we got to stop having conversations out of our insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
We got to stop because you're looking for something and having these insecure conversations. Now, it's one thing to bring something to the table, but we got to stop having conversations out of insecurity because we're just making the wound so much worse,
Yeah.
right? Instead of let me deal with the part of me. I know for me, like some of it was like I'm afraid and I want you to encourage me, like, and take out, but whose responsibility is it to kill fear? Is it his or is it mine? Is it theirs?
Yeah.
Or and that's why you get people who can't build their businesses and stuff like that because you're looking for somebody else to kill what you are called to kill. Like you're the David.
Okay.
Nobody else could kill Goliath but David.
Yeah. It was his
And
calling.
if
That's what he's supposed to do.
that was it, right?
Yeah.
So nobody can kill your Goliath but you.
Do you think people are afraid of being successful or getting over their stuff?
I think fear of success is real, especially if you were not raised in a mindset to be successful.
Because once you like hit that plateau, you get the degree, whatever else, now you're like kind of held accountable, right?
Yeah, you're
That's
held
always
accountable. You don't know what it's like over there because you've never
yeah.
been shown it. So you're like, what is it
What
really
do I
like? So then you
do?
start listening to other people's stories and they sound like horror stories. You're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I want to be over there. Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's
Go ahead.
fear of the unknown.
I was actually on I think Vic's podcast. I talked about man, I'm trying to think of that story. Yeah, so I'm airborne. I'll tell the same story here. I jump out of planes. So I used to. I've still got it,
Ah,
but I'm done with that now.
okay.
I used to be airborne, jump out of planes, doing the whole thing. It's fun. And but when I first started, I guess speaking or even aside from the podcast, because he's kind of pushing me in that motivational piece. I don't really know about motivational speaking. We'll put a pin in it for right now. Anyway, so I like it. I love it.
Yeah.
But again, I think people are looking for boom, 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 and this sheet of paper that has this. And but I'm more of like a give a feeling type thing. So
Yeah.
maybe I just need to be a little bit more structured. Anyway, so jump
No,
out of a
maybe you
plane.
should just own your gift. Like if that's how you
Yeah,
that's if that's how you flow, that's how you flow. Like I used to like look into like, okay, well, I'm this type, like I do it like this, and motivation speakers do it like this. When you lean into how you do it, because can't nobody do it in your way.
facts, facts. I just gotta
That's
find
it.
that space. I ain't found it yet. Maybe it's Clubhouse. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know, but that's what I'm saying. I'm getting attached to people that's doing it and know how to do it, and obviously that's how we learn. So anyway, so we're in the plane, we make the jump, and I tell them jumping isn't the hard part. People
Mm.
think jumping out of the plane is like the hard part. It's really
Mhm.
not.
Mhm.
Landing, oh my god, is the hard part because we get on planes, we go on the little thing, go on the ramp, get on the plane, sit down, they take us to wherever we're going, right, and then we get off the plane. And
Yeah.
when you get on the plane, when you jump out of an airplane, like, oh, he opens the door, like, oh no, I gotta jump out of a perfectly good airplane.
Yeah.
There's no landing.
Yeah.
I'm the wheels. So you jumping out of a plane, and then you're up there, and it's really nice. You got about, maybe depending on how high you are, like a minute 30 or whatever. Oh, this is nice. See some birds, the clouds, beautiful sun, and all of a sudden you like, I've been up here for a good minute, and you like, I'm looking down. Oh, it's just me and my boots. It's like there's no landing gear. There's no guy
There's
over the
yeah.
speaker saying,
Yeah.
all right, you got 15 minutes, go to the bathroom, get ready to put the seatbelt on. No, I'm like, you're up there by yourself.
Yeah.
And so when I'm looking down, and it's what they teach you, you can't see the ground. It seems like you can when you're up there, but
Mm.
you really can't. You can see like what's below you, but you can't see what's directly below you, when you land.
Mm.
So especially at night, we take these little chem lights. You break them, the light come on. We're throwing them just to see where the ground is or which way is the wind blowing. Or something I do in the
Mm.
daytime, I'll spit, right, to see
Mm.
which way is the wind going, and it'll take it away, and I'll kind of pull into it. But you still never know. So you have direction and which way is the wind blowing,
Mhm.
but you still don't know when exactly the moment of a landing. And so I think when people trying to build a business, trying to find their or tap in right to their calling or get out of this depression, like we want the end goal, we want to see it, and then we
Yeah.
get the good feeling like, okay, I can make it through this.
Right. Right. Right.
But I'm sitting there and you legit have to wait. They tell you to look at the horizon. Right. And there's so many like sermon titles in here. I know. They say look
Yeah.
at look at
Yeah.
the horizon, and they say keep your feet and knees together, and then just be ready.
Mm.
They teach you, so you got to take the fall, because eventually, if you pull into the wind, you're gonna slow down, feet and knees together, your legs become like a spring, and then you'll do your little thing and you fall. But you still won't know because you're moving at 30 miles per hour, whatever. And that's what I think. And I say all that to say is, I don't care how much you've prepped. And I get this a lot from you, and you obviously you speak to me, every time you're on Clubhouse, so you be speaking life in me as well. But it's only so much prep you can do before you really have to land
Yeah.
on what you've been called to do, not the
Yeah.
jump part. Because the jump is easy. Go to accepted for the loan. Go get on the shift, right? Yeah, the jump is
Yeah.
easy, but okay, now even like last week, I've spoken in so many places and different types of things. But why was I nervous last Tuesday?
Nah.
Why? I'm like,
No
almost every time I'm like still nervous.
way. Yeah.
I'm doing something I've been doing for years, and it's like,
Right.
okay, whew, you people didn't even see me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the wild. Isn't that the wild part about Clubhouse? Like
Yeah,
people don't even see you. You get the most
I'm
nervous on
still like,
Clubhouse.
whew, hi, I'm Jay.
I know. You get the most nervous on Clubhouse and people cannot even see. Like you can literally be laying in a bed and that's like the most nerve-wracking thing. I think that you're right. You never know. Um, and it's okay because sometimes if you knew, you wouldn't do it.
Okay.
Sometimes if you knew like the outcome or if you knew, to me, I think that's why God doesn't give us all the answers up front because what does
Mm-hmm.
it change, and like what maybe you might decide not to take on the journey. Like if I would have known that like I had to go through depression to get here, do you think I would have like readily signed my name up? Like
I don't know.
exactly.
Oh, that's a good one.
So I
Yeah.
think it's purposeful
Mm,
because that taps into faith.
yeah.
Because if not, then why do you need faith? Like right. So like when you're about to land, you had to have faith in yourself that I'm going to do this right. Like
Yeah, for
all right,
sure.
I can't see the bottom. I don't know how far the ground is, but I got faith. Like that's where faith kicks in. And I think at the end of the day, if that was taken away from us, there would be no need for faith. And then that goes down, down the whole nother rabbit hole. But that there has to be a point where you tap out of your um your processing and you tap into something else.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like when somebody's running and they're sprinting, like
Yeah.
there's a point where they tap out of willpower, like just their power, and it's like willpower. It's like the sheer desire to want to make it comes up. And I
Mm-hmm.
think the most successful people have to hit that point where it's not about what you can do, it's the desperation to survive. So
Yes.
like when I'm pretty sure when you're about to hit the ground, like what kicks in is desperation to survive. Like
Yeah.
like right, like what I'm gonna
Facts.
do it because I'm like I gotta survive.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. I had a note too, and we're almost done. I won't take too much of
Oh
your
yeah, you're
day.
good.
When you're speaking, and if anybody's listening, please go check her out. Also, gonna be in the description. But when you're speaking, it comes for me. It comes from a place of desperation. It really does, and it might sound weird to some people, but when somebody has like they're just speaking just because it's Clubhouse, because you know
Mm,
how Clubhouse is. Sometimes people get
yeah,
on there,
yeah,
all right, everybody, and everybody's trying to be all whatever.
yeah,
But every now and then you hear somebody just like, no, yo, they know what they're talking about,
yeah.
and it's not because you're trying to be flashy or be the most eloquent person in the room or nothing. It's just because no, I don't have to be the shiniest thing in the store to
Mm-hmm.
get picked. I just need to be the most
Mm.
authentic and real. And so that definitely
Mm.
comes out when you speak. So
I
applause to
love
you
that.
for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Let me say what you just said was beautiful. You don't have to be the shiniest. You just got to be the most authentic in
Yeah.
the room. That's like amazing. I'm always honored to hear y'all like talk about me. As I'm like, oh, really? Like,
That's
you
good
know.
though. That's
But
just yeah.
yeah, and I never want to lose that. Like, I never want to lose the awe of it because it
Yeah.
does feel like that way. But here's the truth: is that it roots from I want so badly for nobody to ever feel what I felt.
Mm,
Like that brings tears to my eyes every time. Like every time I get on stage or like I'm speaking or doing something, like the desire for nobody to ever feel like they gotta sit in a room by themselves and take their life.
yeah.
Like that's what's driving me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's what pushes me because it's like I know how it felt. And when you truly tap into purpose,
Yeah.
that's what you feel is that it's
Mm,
it literally takes it like people who are very surface, they think it's about them. When
mm.
you tap into purpose,
That's
your
good.
desire to not want people to suffer, like that was Jesus's whole thing. He didn't want us to suffer. When that desire is so strong that you're willing to die for somebody else,
Mm,
that's purpose. When people talk about they want to, it's okay if you have a moment of wanting to give up. Like Jesus had the same moment. He was like, if you could take this cup from me, like I'm down for it. Is there another way? Because like I'm here
mm-hmm.
for it. But purpose is when you don't get that option and your love for what you're doing and the people that's attached to it is so much greater. So for me, every time I open my mouth and every time I, speak or whatever, like you're right. I don't care about being the best package like speaker or
Yeah.
coach. I don't care about like I thought I did. I spent a lot of years trying to figure out how to market myself right, how to do this. This is why like I don't put this out there like that. But like when you do business coaching with me, like I could do marketing, I could do branding, I know how to run Facebook ads, I know how to do all
Yeah.
the stuff. And I thought that's what I needed. So
Mm-hmm.
I know what it feels like to even search in business and pour your money into people who don't really help you and then finding somebody who does. That's what I thought I needed. What I needed was to be authentic to who I am
Yeah.
and look at my purpose of my business as saving those lives. And that's
Mm,
where you get that from me. Like, I believe what you said, being authentic trumps shiny and well packaged any day. Any day. Like when I started the year off to where I'm at now, like my business has like tripled, but
yeah.
I don't care because if like nobody's getting changed and shifted by what I'm saying, like I don't care. If you still leave out of my room and you want to take your life or you feel invaluable, like that bothers me
Yeah.
because I know what it feels like. And that's the best way I can explain it. I've had, business and marketer people tell me, oh, you got to charge and da 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 da. And I'm like, if somebody came to me today and was
Yeah.
like, I want to come to your event and I can't afford it, you're coming
Yeah.
because, and not out of trickery, like, I have discernment. Let's be clear. I'll put that disclaimer out there.
You ain't coming
But
for free, dog. I'm trying
yeah, like, yeah, don't
to
get me wrong, because I've invested tens of thousands of dollars in myself. So
for
I'm an
sure.
investor. I understand investment. But at the same time, like, what am I going to allow a life to, not be changed? Because so I appreciate what you said. It
Yeah,
makes
for
me
sure.
teary every time because I just like, you never forget where you came from. And I remember the day that happened. And I remember feeling so by myself.
Mm,
I remember feeling like the voices were so loud, and the enemy's voice was so much louder than mine. I remember feeling like I couldn't talk. Like it's just so much. Like when you stay in touch with what it felt like to be lost and broken,
yeah.
I feel like that'll put you in rooms that you didn't even know you could be in
Mm-hmm.
because you never forget. So you'll always get that from me because like that's purpose. That's why I say tapping into is like it was a prison when I thought I had to find it. But when I realized that it was inside of me,
Yeah.
and I just had to like dig deeper in me and I just had to activate it and tap into it and look at, okay, where am I attacked the most in my life? Okay, that's probably my power. That's
That's
probably it's
good.
something in there.
That's cool. That's good.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah. I know, like I gotta stop because you asked a good question. Like it takes me out, but I appreciate it.
No, for real. I just want to give, obviously give you your flowers for sure. I wanted to wait so we got on the podcast, let you know. But
Nah.
for real, you definitely helped with me a lot. And I think that's what it's all about, having these conversations
Yeah.
and doing it. And we talk about that a lot too, is doing it for other people. And yes, and that's gonna help you even more than you think you trying to help you by yourself. That's what people don't get. Like
Yeah.
it's what you're doing. I think Allegra said this is what you're doing, um, helping more people, helping others. Cause anyway, we said that enough. I don't want to get too started either. So last two segments,
Okay.
patented segments of the No Tax Talk podcast. Cause I used to even
Okay.
do segments at all, so I always say it because they're super, super cool. So,
Oh
all right,
shit.
have you? Yeah, we here.
I didn't think about it.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be, and how would you use it to make money? Now, before I pressed record, I told her that this had to be a selfish superpower. She had, I think, how long have we been on this call? I don't know, 40 some minutes, whatever.
Yeah.
It has to help you out. I know you're great. You love people. We
Oh.
talked about it, but this has to
I've
be for
never
you.
thought about like what are my options? Okay, superpower that I would use and how would I use it to make money?
Yes. Has to be something that is Ariana specific.
Time travel.
Okay. Well, how would you use to make money besides like getting the lotto or something? Like,
Well,
and why?
I can invent the ideas before the inventor did. And then I'd be the first.
It's true. Okay. And so I run with that. I run with that. So what I do on the episodes is I break
Oh shoot.
down. Well, no, 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 no.
All right.
This is all speculation. This is all
All right.
speculation. And I
All
forgot to
right.
do it the last episode, so I apologize, Norm. And I break down. And I think I said he was a evil villain. He wanted to like know everything and be evil.
Ah,
Yeah,
I don't
but
know about that,
point
but
is, when time travel, and you said your reasoning is because I want to go back and invent things. So I think it's a time. Well, obviously time thing, but you don't have enough time
mm-hmm,
is the thing. And
mm-hmm.
so if I think we kind of kindred spirits and kind of how our brain works, kind of an extroverted personality. We talked about earlier too, like not being filled up and everything. We would have time to do more things that we wanted to do selfishly. That's why I
Yeah.
asked this too,
Yeah.
because we're so busy and we get so. And there's nothing wrong with being there for people or having a business or wanting to transform lives. We tend to forget ourselves a lot. I'm the
Yeah.
first person to say that.
Yeah.
And so you want more time for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. Usually I'm right. But superpowers, I always tell people when you meet somebody, when you're dating, right, ask them what their favorite superpower is. And nobody's ever said invisibility. That's why I keep using that as an example. But if someone says want to be invisible, they have
Mm-hmm.
self-esteem issues.
Mm.
All right, so you can kind of correlate to that. So
Mm-hmm.
you learn a lot about somebody by that question and by their keychain.
Mm.
Look at their keychain as well. Look at that Planet Fitness gym membership they never use, a brand new car they never tag. You know, like look at some
Facts.
small different things
Facts.
a part of people's lives. Like the one trip they took to New York, whatever. These are like
Yeah.
pro business life skills as well, because
Right.
most
I
big
agree.
businesses are done over like golf or small, very small interactions. So
Yeah.
I do implore you to take more time for yourself. Okay. Get your time traveling moment, create your own space, and do something for yourself. It's very important because we can get burnt out. And I'm talking to myself as well.
Yeah.
I get burnt out very easily. This is why I asked you earlier, like, hey, I know I get it. Time, especially
You
it's the
know,
4th of July weekend, everything too.
yeah, it's funny because like I have things that are self-care. This is so
Mm-hmm.
interesting. I haven't even like really thought this out good. So like it's just like a we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But like so everybody like self-care, 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 right? But and I have things that I do for self-care, but like just genuinely you time
Mm-hmm.
is I don't know, it's I think it's different now. Cause like I can go get my nails done or like I'm big on getting my nails done, I'm big on like getting massages, that's
Yeah, right.
self-care. But does that mean that I took time for myself? Does that mean I rested? No, because I'm like on my phone and the massage can only last so long if my phone goes off and it's an opportunity, I'm like running to it or
Yeah.
but I can say that that's what I'm learning. I had to, for the most part, stop doing Clubhouse on the weekends, other than in my morning room, because I
Okay.
was like, I'm not taking time to be in the moment, to be in the moments of my
Yeah.
life. So that's interesting. I think I'm gonna think more on that, but I think it might be a difference between self care and then taking time for yourself. Like, what does that really look like? Because like this is like a shameful thing to admit, but it's the truth. My husband gets it on me all the time.
Yeah.
Like he could be like, you need to take a nap. And it's so hard for me to like rest because I'm like, I could be doing
Mm.
this, I could be doing
Like,
that. I could
yeah,
be, oh my
yeah.
God, I could do this. I didn't do this. Da, da, da. And like there was a time that was so bad that I felt bad for like taking a nap. Like I would apologize, which is
Mm.
wild. Like, why are you apologizing for saying I'm tired? I need to just go to sleep. And I'm not that bad, but it's still a thing where my husband's like, you just need like sleep, just go to sleep. And I'm like, there's so much I could be doing with.
But you walking
So
around
it's
that
I think
tired
it's
too,
interesting that
huh?
I picked time travel, like, right? That's
Yeah.
dope. I guess.
There you go.
Oh man, look at you giving me some things to open up to. Dang,
That's
that's freaky. That's wild. Okay. All
because
right.
I came up with that question because I'm always doing like self checks even
Yeah.
before I would get into arguments, knowing that it's coming. I'm like, let me
Yeah.
make sure I'm not wrong. So I'm, you know what I'm saying,
Self
before I
check.
even bring this up. Okay, that's great. So yeah, take some time. I got you, husband. If you listening, what's up, bro?
He wasn't he gone
Uh,
now. He be like looking and be like, yeah, okay. I'm like, oh God.
okay. The
All
last
right.
the last segment is the scripture. No matter what we talk about on the episodes, I always want to make sure that people get some word.
Yeah.
I know a lot of times too, even on the clubhouse, I'm like, hey, well, whether you believe or not,
Yeah.
still find your thing, because how I guess recame or whatever the word is to Christ, because I was
Yeah.
raised up in the church pretty heavy, but I
Yeah.
still had to find him for myself, right?
Yeah.
Um, like, if all I know is if I had money when I tithe, or I had money in my account, or if I didn't, I don't know where it went. The stuff like that. I'm starting real basic. Like, I don't know what I'm trying. So usually they kind of correlate up until you get to
Right.
like the pivot point of having to believe the gospel, stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
always encourage people to just start slow in your relationship with God, because we can go straight to Revelations and be like, oh my gosh, like this is a lot. I don't, but
Overwhelming.
you
Yes.
know. So it's interesting. Like I went to three different books of the Bible, but I ended up in Lamentations, which is a weird book. If y'all
Mm-hmm.
ever read
Mm-hmm.
Lamentations, it's a lot. Okay, you got
Different.
it's definitely different. What is it, like only five or six? I think it's just five chapters. And when I did my research on it, because I was in theology school for a bit, it's kind of like a mountain. So
Me
it kind
too.
of go
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
so it kind of goes up chapter one and chapter two, craziness, chapter three, kind of the precipice, and the last two is like, somebody telling the story, right? And
Right.
it's a bad story. You got like, dads having sex with their daughters, rape, despair,
Lot.
cannibalism, all type of stuff. And so, but I'm coming towards the end,
Yeah.
um, which is I think the last three verses. So Lamentations 5, and 19 through 22. And I always tell people the translation that I'm in is very important because you see the KJV sometimes you like, man, I don't understand them thuses and thouses, but I always say
It can
look
be
at
kind of
least
confusing.
yeah, but I always say look in like two or three different translations because you'd be surprised like how crazy it can be saying the
Yeah.
same thing. So 19 to 22, the last four verses. Lord, I'm sorry, you, Lord, reign forever. Your throne endures from generation to generation. Why do you always forget us? Why do you forsake us for so long? Restore us to yourself, Lord, that we may return. Renew our days as of old, unless you have utterly rejected us and are angry with us beyond measure. I
Mm.
do again. Hey, y'all need to just read that. Read the whole thing. It's a quick read. I feel like it's a quick read, but read the entire thing. Do a little research on it. But it's the internal battle. That's what I want to focus on. And I'll say what I feel. You say what you feel. We'll be out of here. Right. It's the internal mental battle that we have with ourselves. I tried looking it up. If you know, tell me. But I don't think they had the original author. It was just like somebody speaking. All right.
Okay.
Telling the story. Yeah. And so I mean, without getting too much deep into it, I want to talk about the internal battle. The angel on our left, or the evil guy on our right, the evil
Yeah.
Kermit that we have.
Yeah.
We talked about a lot today in this episode: depression, just about purpose and shifting the way we think. But let's not forget the internal struggles and battles that we have with ourselves. You
Right.
even said that sometimes the devil did feel like he was speaking a little bit louder than my own thoughts. When we're
Yeah.
trying to decipher what's God and what's the devil, like, well, and what's me, right?
Yeah.
People like, well, I don't know what God sounds like, Jay, because I'm just thinking in my head, and people get really confused. And it's just a reminder to people like, well, the more time you spend with God, the more time
Mm.
you're quiet, right? The more time you be still, you will start to kind of
The more
to
you
get
hear.
it. And all they're doing in Lamentations, well, for the most part, is just it's going through the paces. God, I hate you. You suck. But I'm sorry. No, I'm a bad guy. I ain't mean it. I'm sorry, bro. It's bad down here, though. You get it, right? Why we going? So you going through all these things,
Yeah.
and when you're trying to be successful, it's like God. And you said it yourself, like, do I have to be the example? Can I be one of the people that I just listen from and learn a lesson, and I have to go through it?
Yes.
And then ultimately you realize, no, no, Aarionna, I've called you from war. Stop that. We bigger than this. Hey, you meant to be a little bit higher. You got the threshold for it, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people I know that listen to us for both of us, they feel like that.
Hmm.
They feel like they're just in this back and forth and they don't know how to get that clarity. And so
Yeah.
reading about that much despair, and it's from the Bible, because we always a lot of them are really good, positive stuff like that. But when you're reading through Lamentations, some of these the bad things, like you're like, yo, like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I got. You can tell me what you think, and we'll be out here. We'll be out.
Well, the internal battle is perfect because you're right. We're talking about depression
Yeah,
and things like that. And a couple things
I think your
is
mic kind of messing up a little bit. Okay, it's
oh
fixed now. Yep.
okay. A couple things is that what we do when we make the mistake is we
Mm,
get angry with God
yeah.
for chastising us or punishing us, whatever you want to call it, or
Hmm.
repercussions of our actions, right? And I was looking back through because I think that's where I'm really big on looking at the total picture because a lot of people take
Yeah.
scriptures and they make their assumption, but the truth of the matter is that they had fell off,
Hmm.
and then when you had to reap the repercussions of falling off, we
Yeah.
yelling at God, we screaming at God, we like,
Yeah.
what? Why you leave me here? Why? Da, 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 da. And he's like, hey, same thing he told me. He said, I said I would never leave you or forsake you. I hear you. I'm here. But if you don't take responsibility for what you did and
Yeah.
change it, if you don't change your ways, right? Like I said, I would never force myself on you.
Yeah.
So I can't force you to change your ways. It has to be a choice. If
Mm.
we look at our lives, we want people to choose to love us. You don't want to have to buy somebody's love. You don't want to have to con or trick somebody to love you. It's more authentic when they choose.
Yeah.
And so even when I was going through my own internal battle of like this, of mad, of upset with God, I did all of it. I did the questioning. I got mad. I apologized. Like there's
Yeah.
some stuff I said, I apologized. I did all of it. I did not get any different response until I took responsibility for what part I played.
Mm,
The hardest thing for us as humans to do is to take
for
responsibility
sure.
for the part you played.
Yeah.
You know, there's repercussions to every action. What I love about, when you started and you said you try to tell people, you got to find your own way. When I speak and bring the word and I'm like, hey, listen, principles you can't deny.
Mm,
You can't deny principle. So I'm gonna bring you principle,
okay.
and then this is just me watering. God does the growing. So I'm gonna bring principle, fact that you can't deny, that is in this book, that is in this word, and I believe and I know
Mm,
that God's going to do the rest. And so the principles of the word and of this, which you brought, I love it because when people say, and I get it, I used to be there, like, I don't know what God sounds like, I can't hear him. You're right. The more that you read, the more that you get connected. It's so funny. I had a bunch of revelations this week. It was like insane. And I was
mm-hmm.
telling one of my top fives, my best friend, I was telling her, was like, is this what happens when you read the word? Like you get a lot more clarification. Like, ooh.
Yes.
And it was just like back to back. And I've never
Mm,
heard God's voice so prominent in my life like right now. But I got quiet.
mm,
But when you read, when you surround yourself with people, you silence the loudness of that devil on the side. That's what happens is that this side starts to get louder and louder and louder. And that's what I try to teach people is like make the positivity louder, make the hope, the faith, the push, the encouragement. If
mm-hmm.
you make that louder than what this is, then you can start to see when it's not right
Yeah.
because you'll hear something that's contrary to this.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so I love the scripture you bought because at the end of the day, for me, what I got from it is you got to take responsibility for the hand you play. You can't play the hand and then get mad that you lost.
Mm. That was
You
almost
can't
a
make the
podcast title.
mistake.
Whew. Can't get mad when you lost.
Can't make the mistakes. You can't decide to
Yes.
do whatever you want to do. And then when it comes time to pay, when the bill is due, now you don't want to pay the bill. That's not fair. And this has nothing
Mm.
to do. And I love this because I want to say this has nothing to do with what God is not willing to give you, not willing to do for you, or
Yeah.
not going to do for you. It has everything to do with you are here based off of some bad decisions that you made.
Mm.
And the faster that you take responsibility is the faster. They're talking about the children. I promise you, I'm going to go. You
No, you
got me
good. You
here.
good. Yeah, you good.
But we're talking about the children of Israel. Those were always his chosen people.
Mm-hmm.
Always, 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 always. Which says to us, like, when they went to the promised land, he didn't have to create the promised land. He just had to get them to it. All the blessings and things line up,
Mm.
they're already yours. But you got to take responsibility for how you react and what you do and what you decided to do. Every reaction, every action has a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
We got to be mature enough. And I think in this here is showing you what happens when you don't take responsibility for the part that you played and you try to blame God. And a lot of people do that. Why does this
Yeah.
person die? This I lost my father when I was 7.
Mm-hmm.
I could have went down the route of, oh God, why'd you do this? Da, 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 da. But I could probably stand and say I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And maybe if my father had been here, I probably made a
Yeah.
bunch of different decisions. So I think if you're trying to figure out, how do you decipher the voices and this is on the other, the first thing you got to do is take responsibility for where you are. We have control over that of what we did to get ourselves here. And the more quiet that you get, the more connected you get, the more that you hear. And you don't have to wonder what God's voice sounds like
Mm.
because you're listening.
We
We
are
got
able
two
in
ears, one
tune.
mouth.
That's legit what I was just talking about yesterday. Yeah, on the last one, I just recorded that one a couple days ago. He said the same thing. That's crazy. See, and I'm telling you, when you're in the spaces you're supposed to be in, that
Hmm.
doesn't even surprise me anymore. Kind of like when you leave church, you heard a
Yeah.
good message, and then like your cousin went to church too, and they talked about the kind of the same
Same.
thing.
Yeah.
When you're on that same wavelength, that's kind of
Yeah.
where you're supposed to be, and it's just
Yeah.
like,
And people don't
ooh,
realize when you do get in that wavelength, confirmation is easy.
mm-hmm,
Like we search so long looking for it, looking for it, looking for it. But when you get in the right place, confirmation like slaps you in the face left and right. I don't care. No, like literally you get way more like validation when you get in
mm-hmm,
your space.
yep,
I've had so many things that confirmed what I'm about to do, but it's because I put myself in the right space. I stopped looking, 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 all these other places, I went directly to the person who could reveal it to me. And now, like we said, like you're getting confirmation. I've gotten confirmation. Like it shows up.
This is so good. I know we can go
Ah,
forever. This is
I know, I
great.
know.
I can't wait to see you on Tuesday. No.
Ah,
Um,
golly.
thank you so much for
You're
coming
so
on.
welcome.
This has been an amazing time. It's exactly what I thought it was gonna be.
I
Um,
loved it.
I loved it too. You part of the last couple of great, potent episodes before season two.
Wow.
So I'm so you came at the exact right time. Like, I
Amazing.
applaud you for being dope and for going through what you're going
Oh.
through, for being a light to other people, and you got to get some sleep. Okay,
Yeah.
take time for yourself. It's important. I know from experience. Okay,
You're right. You're right. I was up till 2 a.m. On Clubhouse. We're not even gonna go there. So
that's
thank you so much for
wild.
having
Oh
me.
my god,
Thank you so much for having my husband literally was in the bed. Like, are you kidding me right now? I was like,
bruh.
I don't do Clubhouse on the weekends. Give me this. I want like just let me have it. Thank you for having me. We're not going to discuss my own issues. I'm gonna get it together. But I listen. I applaud you. I thank you for
Yes,
showing up. Like knowing that you have your own battles and you continue to push. Like
for sure.
please just know it's gonna pay off so good. Like the
Yeah.
payoff is amazing. So thank you so much.
No problem. This has been another edition of the No Tact Talk podcast. It's always a reminder to live life on purpose and always live a little no tact in your life. Peace.